Welcome, everybody. It's so good to see you all again. So, tonight we're going to meditate and to talk a little bit about the center. And of course, when we look to the center, we're also looking at the center line inside ourselves, the middle between the left and the right, but also the middle in before and behind or after yourself. And that brings the whole connection with the center so close to the quality of being. Being in the center of yourself. So, what does this mean? Of course, when we talk about spirituality and about the work on yourself, we are talking about basically three things: centering, balancing, and grounding. So today is about centering, and which is so close to balancing, because being in your center by itself draws you into balance and also has a grounding effect. So, what is this being in your center? Or what is the center? The middle way. So much connected also with the center. The middle way, the way in between good and evil, right and wrong. So when we talk about the non-dual quality center, what we're talking about is the quality which is in the middle. The quality which basically is containing both sides as well. Neither good nor bad, neither left nor right. And when we're talking about neither left or right, at the same time, we're talking about left and right, good and bad. So when we talk about the non-dual quality of centering or center, then we talk about not getting entangled, not losing yourself in one or the other of the dualities. And when we don't lose ourselves in either of the dualities on all the levels which are there, it means that basically we are free to move through the dualities. Both of them are there, and none of them are there. So let's start with left and right. So when we look to left and right and we look to the body, so we also look to what in spirituality is called the male and the female side. The male side more to the right side, more connected with the left side of the brain, more the intellectual side, the active side, the doer. And the female side more connected to the right side of the brain and the left side of the body, more connected with the receptive side of yourself, where we feel, where we experience, where experience is moving in. And of course, what would be the middle between both sides, between the active and the receptive? between left and right. This is where we don't lose ourselves in being active, neither lose ourselves in being receptive. That means that the active and the receptive both are free to move as they need to move. Where good and bad, when we look at that duality, where good and bad both are exposing themselves. And we don't get lost in one of the dualities. We don't need to be bad and we don't need to be good. There is this overview in which we see that, some things which are good for one person could be bad for another person. That's when we lost what is good forever, and that's good, and that's the only thing which is good. And bad is bad forever, and the thing which is bad will always be bad. So, of course, then when we look to it, then the non-dual quality of center is so much also connected with the non-dual quality of freedom. It's where we are free, free of entanglement, free of grasping and aversing, which very much is in the mind, where we grasp for certain things we want to have, it has to be there, and other things we averse, we don't want to. So being in the center gives us a total different picture of that, where we are able to pick up things, look at it, experience it, and let it go. We don't need to keep it, to hold on to it. And things we averse, we can also look at, pick it up, and let it go. We don't identify with it anymore. And this is so strong when we look at grasping and aversing. It's all about identifying. When we look in being in the center and losing our center, it's all about identifying. Sometimes in our lives, a miracle is happening, a blessing. Something we kind of, we don't know where it comes from. Maybe because we meditate, or maybe because something happened to us, or maybe just because of the air. But we kind of move in a situation that we feel in bliss. We feel liberated. It's like, we are not bothered by things so much more. We're out of the inner fight, the inner struggle we used to be in. The busy mind is silent. And we move deeply into experience of the moment. In India, they call this a satori, a deep opening up of all the senses. We feel alive. The heart is opened. We feel love. We experience love also around ourselves, the blend of love. And then at once, or sometimes slowly, we lose this state of bliss again. Just gone. And we find ourselves in the same situation as before. But the same situation as before becomes more and more unbearable because we remember this moment of bliss, this moment of freedom, this moment that we were in our center. So we lose this basically situation of bliss, or this period of bliss, because we get entangled again. We move out of balance. And we move again in one of the dualities, good or bad. And get locked in it for some time. And the inner struggle starts again. If it has to be this or this, or that, we lose our center. So being in the center is also being in the reality of and this and that. Both is there. Both is possible. It's not either or. So I talked about before about the center line of the body. And the center line of the body, basically in the center of the body, through the body, upwards and through the body downwards. This center line is so much connected also with the center. Then being in the center line, the middle way, brings us into a state of inner peace. This is where we find inner peace. It is what it is. No struggle. So again, when we look to the quality of center, so much is connected also with the center of peace. No war and no surrender. No fight. It is what it is. And does it mean, when we are in our center, that we cannot protest? That, if it is what it is and we don't choose between wrong and right, we cannot put borders. We just agree with everything what is happening. No. That doesn't mean that, because, being in the center also means that the different dualities which are there on all levels, we can move through it without getting stuck in it. So we can start a fight. We can pick it up and we can put it down. We can put a border. We can pick it up and we can put it down. We can feel disgust. We experience disgust, but it doesn't define us. We can put it down again. All the dualities are available to express through. All the dualities are available, but we are not defined by it anymore. It's not who we are. It's ways to express. So when I talk like this, you can just feel the freedom in this. So if it is necessary, we can put up a fight. But when necessary, when needed, we can let it go also, from one moment to the other moment. We can be wrong and we can be right. It doesn't define us. We can make mistakes. And we can solve the mistakes. It's a total different way of living. It's a way of living in which we can be whatever is coming forward as for us to be. It's just a form. It's not defining us. So when we look to this is also so much connected with spiritual awakening. With the realization that what we think, what we feel, our emotions, that is not what we are. It's an awakening in which we realize that we are not what we think, and we are not defined by what we're thinking. And it gives the freedom to think almost everything. Almost everything is possible. We can have negative thoughts, positive thoughts, no thoughts. Thinking becomes playful, creative. There is no fear in thinking anymore. When there is no fear in thinking anymore, there is no grasping, no push or no pull, and we're not fighting with our emotions. It's the death of the busy mind. Busy mind cannot exist in that atmosphere. And of course, when we look to the busy mind is so much connected with keeping up appearances, with how it should be, how we should do it, about fear of the reactions of other, fear of our own emotions, wanting to get rid of things. It's all based on inner struggle, inner fight. And when we are in busy mind, we suffer. And we lose ourselves. We literally lose ourselves in thought patterns, in worry. When we look more deeply into that, to lose ourselves, we lose our center and we lose our balance and we lose our grounding. Because if you kind of look at busy mind activity, your own busy mind activity, a little bit, it's never about the now. It's either about the past or about the future, what could happen, how it should be, what is not allowed, how the other person could react, and what we should do then. It's all fantasy. Fantasy based on fear, because we want to be in control. So with control comes the busy mind. So again, what is this thing control? So when we talk about being in control of a situation, so you have to be in control of your life. You have to be in control of your emotions. So basically what we're stating when we want to be in control or work hard to be in control, what we're stating that is that we are out of control. Why should we be in control if we are not out of control? So there is a loss of control. So we have to control our husband because there is a loss of control. If there was not a loss of control, we didn't need to control him, do we? We have to be in control of our anger when there is a loss of control. Otherwise, we don't need to control our anger anymore. So being in control is about the loss of control, basically. The loss of our center. Because control is not an issue when we are in our center. It's more containing. We lose control when we identify. When we're angry, we have to do something with our anger. That's an identification. That's where we grasp the anger. We have to do something about it because we are angry. Our friends tell this as well. The neighbor does something, and you tell your friend, the neighbor, and that you're what the neighbor did, and that you're very angry about. And your friend says, you need to do something about that. You need to gain control of the situation. You should tell him. You should scream at him. Tell him the truth. It's an incredible injustice. And there we lose our center. There's an identification. Something happened, you get angry. And moving towards our center is not kind of to see how we can solve this outside ourselves. Moving towards center is how to look, where did it touch myself? What is the impact? Why am I so angry about this? And for sure, for a very good reason, that it has a depth. And by killing the neighbor, we don't solve the inner conflict. But we can solve the inner conflict by containing the pain and understanding the pain which is behind the anger. And maybe sharing this with the neighbor, which is much more vulnerable and is not about a fight. So being in our center is incredibly liberating. It's not getting lost in all kinds of patterns and structures. It means also being in the center is being in the center of the brain. Being in the center of our belief structures. Understanding, when we are in the center there, that our beliefs are not defining us. They help us to structure our personality. But we are not our personality at the same time. Our personality is part of us. As our right hand is part of us, or our left hand is part of us. There's the left hand. It's a part of us, but it's not what we are. When somebody would come to you and would say, I'm my right hand, you think, okay, what's happening with this guy? But when somebody says to you, I'm a very friendly person, and sometimes I'm upset, and there are certain things which are upsetting me, you think, okay, this guy is completely normal. I am angry, I'm fearful. There's nothing wrong with this guy. So are you fearful, or do you experience fear? Are you angry, or do you experience anger? Are you love, or do you experience love? So being in the center brings you in a position where you experience love, you experience anger. You're conscious of thoughts. You're not what you think, and your thinking is not defining you. It's also being in the center line of your body. And again, being in such a position helps us to move into the world of and, in the world of being. This is where being is as well. In the world where, again, left and right are meeting each other and coming together as one. Where good and bad are meeting each other and are coming together as one. Our ability to discern. So, again, every time when we talk about a non-dual quality, we say this is really an important quality. They all seem to be like this, and this, is a central quality. because it's connected with this and it's connected with that. And, this quality gives us this and that. And when we lose ourselves in the dualities, it's this kind of suffering and that suffering. So basically, every non dual quality is a central non dual quality because they're in the center between the dualities and containing both sides at the same time. So we don't get stuck. We can be and we can express freely. We can experience freely. And we're not defined by what we express and what we perceive. And of course, this is maybe very dangerous. What about human ethics? If you express your rage, and what could happen? Maybe you would kill some people off. That's not good. And the opposite is so true. We express our rage by killing others when we cannot deal with our own rage, when the rage is not allowed to be there. You make me angry. You make my life unsafe. And because you make my life unsafe and you make me angry, I need to terminate you. It's all a reflection of the inner fight. When we're free to feel our rage can come out in many different forms. But at the same time, and we feel our rage, we feel our heart, our mind is active. We don't lose ourselves in an emotion, in a thought, or a feeling. It's all there. It's and. And then is the chance that you will kill the neighbor because whatever he did to you, very, very, very low. If you lose your center in your rage, that you will harm your neighbor is much higher because you blame him for your suffering. So that's partly why we said the movement inside is so important to come to your center. To look when the neighbor is doing something, to feel, okay, what is touched in me? And to take this serious. To look a little bit behind the rage, which is a defense. And looking behind the rage and allowing the rage to be there as it is will bring us back to center. And gives us the freedom to respond however the and what you are needs to respond. Not to get rid of the suffering, but maybe to put a border. Or maybe just share whatever is difficult for you. It becomes a total different level of communication in which the neighbor is not the enemy anymore. Okay, I leave it like this. We have a 5-minute break, and after a 5-minute break, we all are going to center with Georgie.
Shut up that sound. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Let's make myself invisible. Yay. You can't meditate when you're looking at yourself. So the non-dual center in us greets the non-dual center in you. I've got mocky marbles. This is all about polarity. So let's find a comfortable position where these tired old bodies can easily relax. Tired young bodies. These beautiful bodies of ours can easily relax, where the body feels supported. And as you're coming into this physical position where it's possible to meditate, perhaps you can open up to the possibility of sheer comfort. Daring to relax into a comfort which is behind any other physical experience. Just let your body lead you into that. Wherever we're resisting discomfort, perhaps you could notice that it's there anyway. And as you're relaxing, allowing the body to relax, I'd like you to bring your attention to where the air is entering the body. Through the nose, through the nostrils, or through the mouth, or both. Just notice the softness of the sensation of air entering through the nostrils. And the sensation of the air as it leaves the body with the out breath. And just allow the rhythm of your breathing to move into a naturalness without having to do a thing in any direction. And as you're breathing, perhaps you could notice any scent which is in the room right now or in the space right now. Just notice the scent or perfume of the space that you're in. And with your out breath, share your presence with that space. And as you let yourself experience any perfumes or scents with the in-breath, perhaps you could take an even longer out-breath, sharing your presence with the space beyond the room where you are. With the in-breath, experiencing the different scents of the space around you. And with the out-breath, sharing your presence even with the distant horizons now. And as you're breathing in and out, perhaps you could notice that space in which you experience the perfumes around you, where the sense of smell is registering. Let yourself soften into that space where you experience smell. And when you're ready, I'd like you to lean back. Lean back a little as if you're falling asleep. And to open up the feeling of where your body is supported as you let your consciousness sink down into the body now. Leaning back into the open space behind you. Finding a place to rest in the center of the body. Notice how easy it is to allow the sensations of the whole body now. Warmth and coolness. The reliable pull of gravity. Density and lightness. Fluidity. Just notice how relaxing that is to fall into that. Perhaps you could let your breathing guide you deep into the body as you follow the oxygen into the lungs, and from the lungs into the blood, and from the blood everywhere. Perhaps you could listen to the silence which is there within the atmosphere of the body. Just listening to the quietness of the body. Noticing any sounds within the body. As they appear and disappear. And when you're ready, I'd like you to unfold your listening to the left side of the body, listening now to the space all around the left side of the body, even to the far distance of the left side. Just opening up your listening to all the left area of the body into the distance. Can you hear sounds far away on the left side? Just simply allow any sounds appearing far, far away in the left side. And now can you again listen to sounds deep inside your body, close to home inside the body. Perhaps the sound of your swallowing or of your belly, or maybe it ringing in the ear, in the inner ear. Listen again to the silence deep inside yourself. Allowing whatever is there. Maybe you could listen even to the one that is listening. And when you're ready, I'd like you to quickly and easily listen now to the sounds on the right side of the body. We're opening up our listening to the space on the right, even to the far, far, far distance. What sounds can you hear far, far, far away to the right side? Just let yourself allow it, or maybe even listening to the atmosphere of the silence in the far distance on the right side. Now let yourself naturally and easily move back to listen to the sounds inside the body. The sounds very close to home. Maybe the sound of your swallowing or of your breathing or of your belly. Or subtle ringing in the ears. Maybe you could listen to the subtle quiet or silence which is always here beneath it all, in and around the body. The atmosphere of the body. Maybe you can notice the one that listens. Listen a little to this timeless listener. As you relax even more deeply, perhaps you could listen to the whole pelvic area, letting your attention easily fall down, listening from the pelvic area. Now we're going to go on a short journey. What I'd like you to do is imagine how it would feel if your left hand was fighting with your right hand. We're letting ourselves imagine and experience the sensation of a war between our left hand and our right hand. Let the sensation come to life in your hands. And as your left hand is fighting your right hand and your right hand is fighting your left hand, can you notice how that feels behind that? The sound or the feeling of this fight. How you suffer it. As you give space to that suffering of this conflict, maybe you can allow yourself to move through time, allowing yourself to be moved through time to a situation where you felt this way, or a situation where you would feel this way. Let that situation emerge in form in your experience now. Let it take form. Notice how the inside of the body is responding to this experience. And now, without pushing the experience away, allowing the experience to be alive, just include the sensation of your breathing again. Notice your breathing as you are allowing this experience of conflict. Let your breathing create space behind and around the conflict. Maybe with your out breath, you could even breathe space into the conflict. I'd like you to connect to the center of yourself, the center of your heart. And notice how you feel towards this conflict. What is your attitude, your feeling attitude towards this situation? How are you looking upon it? kind of feeling is this situation asking for from you as the witness? Is there a particular quality which this conflict is asking for? Perhaps you can connect with this quality which is asked for, the vibration of this quality, or simply being there with a kindness, and transmit your presence to the situation with the out breath, allowing yourself to share this quality around and through, enclosing the situation with this quality. Making it available through the out breath. And now perhaps you could share this quality with anything out there in the world. Sharing this quality with the whole universe around you. Transmitting this quality to the far distance on the left. And moving around to transmit this quality to the far distance on the right. And now sharing this quality with all the sensations and spaces within the physical experience, within your body. You allow now the pure consciousness of your left hand Letting your left hand be however it needs to be right now. As it is, inside and outside of the bone and the muscle and the skin, the fingernail, letting it rest as it is. Receiving whatever is needed to receive. As we connect again with the quality, from the depth of our heart, opening a doorway to the whole universe from which the quality comes, and sharing it easily and quickly now with the right hand. Letting the right hand be whatever it needs to be. We bring our attention now to both hands at the same time. If you want, you can even bring the hands together. As you allow the body to be in its own aliveness, alive and free. Letting yourself come to zero distance with the body, relaxing into it and becoming one with the body. And with the earth. And with the whole. emptiness. Okay, so as we're coming back to the here and now, we at this stage say thank you for joining us, to our friends on YouTube and elsewhere. Bart is clearly feeling it as well, even though you can't see him. We'll be back again next Wednesday, as we are consistently, and have a beautiful week. And we look forward to meeting you here, there, everywhere.